What's up, my peoples? Now, I have a personal philosophy. I call it sovereign intelligence. And it's a philosophy, a way of life, a way of disciplined thought. And because of that, I tend to have a extremely unique, I can't say extremely unique, uncommon perspective on many issues. And I've always had that, to the point that most of the time people think I'm crazy. Other than that, I tend to end up right. Just to kind of give you just a little insight. There's facts, right? Now, facts are not because of me. I didn't create the facts. If you drop this object, it falls, hit the floor. So the fact is, I dropped this object, it fell, hit the floor. Now, how I feel about dropping that object and it hitting the floor is separate from the facts and have little to do with the facts. It has to do with me and me personally. Facts are derived from observations of real reality, basically, you know. And then there's theories and hypothesis and things of those natures that allow you to take it further and to use the facts that you know to the best of your knowledge and to the limits of your knowledge. Take those facts and come up with a thesis of things that you don't know. To be a true leader, you have to be able to lead into the unknown. We seem to have leaders that lead by known paths. But to truly be a leader, you have to lead into the unknown, because tomorrow is the unknown. The forest over the mountain is unknown. To be a leader, you must be able to lead into those situations. And leaders are at the head of the pack, not at the back getting reports and all that. But that's beside the point, beside some of the fundamentals of my philosophy, right? I'm saying all this just to say this, right? You can, make assumptions and you can come up with theories and things of that nature. And that is not you being less than an intelligent person. That is you being fully capable of multi-dimensional thinking. Okay? And that's very important to be a leader, because you have to be able to think in multiple dimensions of what could happen over the mountain in the unknown forest. Kind of give you an example of how certain rules of discipline to thought lead you to completely different conclusions. Even though this whole man-woman thing is completely fabricated by the powers that be to further their utilization of our energy and time, but let's dive into it. Let's dive into one particular very telling aspect of all these conversations that we're being bombarded with, and that is the passport bros. Here's the thing that I realized, right? So, yes, we have people who have been going to other countries to find, let's let's say, the traditional minded woman, from traditionally minded countries. And you can tell because these are not going to, Western countries, because Western countries are capitalistic, and basically the countries themselves take advantage of the people, right? And heap financial hardships to no end on the populace while they live off the fruits of the populist labor. All right, they going over here to find women that want to be wives and want to be at home and want to do the more traditional things and look at them in a more traditional way. Now, in this conversation, we was going back and forth about both sides of the spectrum and whatnot. And here's the thing. The passport bros is one symptom of the hardship of living in America. I mean, our women have to go to work. Like, I would love to say, I'm going to put you up and you stay at home and all that, but look at, we're charged for every single thing. Every single thing. For everything. And the charges never stop. The only thing that you bought that you don't have to keep paying for to have is something that you ate. Everything else you have to pay to still have it. You got land, you bought the land, you have to pay taxes. If you don't pay those taxes, you won't have the land. Everything, car, you could buy a car, but if you don't get it registered, you can't use that car. If you don't pay your yearly registrations to say that it's still your car and to get a sticker, and just constant draining of the finances, right? So even though most of us are the working class, most of us are the people who create the luxuries, we are not the people who get to have those luxuries. And it's blowing up in the expectations of our relationships because we want real relationships. We want that traditional life. We want, families and things like that, but based on the false elevation of prices for every little thing and tax and renter costs. I mean, you go buy a house, you own that house unless you stop paying to say you own that house. Now, if you go to a lot of these countries, and I'm saying all this because if you notice in the countries that the men go to find a traditional woman, in those traditional cultures where those things are still valued, to be a wife is valued, they can buy their land and it's theirs. It's theirs. They don't have to keep paying for this. You see, we are looking at the fact that we have brothers who want, and it ain't black people as in brothers, I'm saying brothers as in men, who want a more traditional woman in the home, and they go to places where that's still a thing, but we're not looking at the economical aspect of that, because all the little back and forth makes it to where we never look at the true problem. And the problem is we live in a country where we're forced to be corporate puppets. Family life is no longer to be valued because they need you to go to work and produce these goods for the greed of the, commercialized America, and that's why, even though in reality most men are in that 40, 50, 60, 70,000 a year range, that's not even in a part of the conversation. But all those men are the men who make the world go round. Yet in our financial propaganda that we've been hit with, that man's basically considered obsolete, because you have to have 250,000 a year on this other stuff. We're not looking at the fact that those aren't the people that even make up this country. Like, honestly, those aren't the people that make up the country. So in that conversation, all of us are left with no hope of anything real. The women aren't left with any hope of a real husband because they're taught to think that this financial thing is what matters. You know, it's not the man himself, it's the finances. So if a man has a lot of money, he can have a lot of wives. That's the American way. And then we're choked out of really moving up. I mean, everything is corporate. It's a corporate market. How the hell I'm gonna beat out Walmart to try to get a piece of any market? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna beat out Amazon to get a piece of the delivery market. The upward mobility is being closed down to all of us being born after they took control. Like, what you expect? So now we have these expectations that aren't based on the reality, because if you look at the reality, these are the numbers that make up the world you live in. These are the expectations that make up the world you live in. And, you know, men are running away from that, as they should. But instead of it being us running away from it, like me and you, we gonna run away from this shit. They charging us, they ain't allowing us to have anything real, because they charge us for everything, charge us for to have children, charge us to do this, let's go find a culture, a place on the planet where we are allowed to actually be human without paying for it, so we don't have to work our lives away. Instead of that being a conversation, we bitching back and forth at each other about why you don't have more money. And then the men are like, well, why do you want my money? You know, traditional values are gone. You know, they're tanking America itself. They're tanking America, and men are just the side effect that you see, because men are problem solvers. They're seeing the problems that's coming into their personal lives because of these things that our culture has now heaped on us. And, oh, it's just the way it is. Yeah, but you go to another country, it's not that way. Like, why are we supposed to be the freest but pay for every single thing? Now you have to pay for a passport, plane ticket, a hotel room, a whole tourist package. And you got to be there for a while, because I know they like to say these men are going out to find prostitution, but prostitution is all up and down everywhere we live. This is the home of prostitution. We got the best prostitutes. You know, I could pay for anything here, and I don't need a plane ticket. I don't even need my ID. I could pay for any sexual act I want to right here in America. So if these people leaving America for paying for sexual acts, stupid. Let's focus on why they're leaving, because the traditional values are no longer a part of America. This is corporate America. Look how much it costs to live, because corporations are now in the private industry of housing. You can never outbid the corporation. So yes, we will be paying to rent our lives forever here in America, and we gotta pay to rent our wives here in America. And it's really just men are trying to get away from America. My advice to the ladies is to understand that this is not real life. This is not the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be in debt for the rest of your life. You're not supposed to be renting your life. And and I'm just speaking to the ladies, if you can understand that that is a problem, for us, for our children, then you can join in the conversation with the men and we can stop talking about passport bros and all that other stuff. We can start talking about maybe taking back our country so we don't need a passport to go to a place where a woman can afford to be traditional and a culture can afford to even preach traditional values. It's not the back and forth that we have. And yes, men want more traditional women. We don't want the 1,001 body counts, but that's when you was in high school, because you should have chose up then. Most of these people were just the people who didn't do it the right way. And now all these conversations are being had. But even if we didn't do it the right way, we could still have traditional values if we stop prioritizing man-made money over God-made processes of fucking procreation, family, all that shit. Like, I mean, what do you value? You know, and if we can get back to that point, like in the start of America, when they didn't really want a lot of government fucking with their shit because they wanted to be able to have their own shit and not have to pay for their shit. Boston Tea Parties, you know, motherfuckers was tired of being taxed on tea, so they went to war. Your whole existence is taxed. Man, you have to go to another country to get a traditional woman because they taxed you out of that shit here. Isn't it? Stop blaming the women. Let's look up at the motherfuckers who changed our whole society to make it to where we can't live unless we're money based. The countries you go into, those women can be like that. The prospect of their husbands, they can fucking buy a piece of land and grow some shit and fucking take care of themselves for the rest of their life. They're not gonna keep paying for the shit they already paid for and then have to keep paying to get more shit. Being one of the sovereignly intelligent, is I have to wonder, I can't just look at right now and be like, oh, that's just the way it is. I have to look at human development. This is an extremely new situation. That's like, you know, it really is an experiment. Taxations, usury loans that you'll never really come out of. You know, by the time you finish paying it off, you can pay 4 or 5 times the amount. You know, maybe y'all need to realize that money is time and energy. That's the only thing it is. You damn near have to be corrupt to have a lot of money, because how did you get all these people's time and energy in your pocket? And how come the people that put forth the time and energy don't have no money? I know y'all don't think about things like that, but you have to really think back. You know, they had an experiment where they taught monkeys to use money. And, you know, it didn't even take generations. It was as soon as they realized how to use money, now you got prostitution, theft, crime, all that shit. That whole fall of their whatever they pack is called structure. It was all gone. And all they gave them was washers from the hardware store. Destroyed their whole society. We got little pieces of paper and stamp coins and digital currency because we got more money digitally than there ever was produced paperly, or actually physically, shall I say. Well, I'm just saying, you know, not to go on too far of a tangent, not to go too far off in there, but I just felt like people really need to start having a conversation and having discipline in the language you use and how you can respond, such as if you can show me a fact, then I must now incorporate that fact into my thought process. I can't just still continue to ignore a fact that contradicts my whole thought process, because then I'm not even thinking in reality. You know what I'm saying? You have to be the sovereignty over your intelligence. Well, you know, I start teaching my philosophy and bringing it into a more solid state to pass it on. Because I think we really do need not education, because education is training. You can train a monkey. You can train a lion. The only thing about that is, once you train them, educate them, they are no longer fit to survive in reality anymore. So while everybody's celebrating their degrees and their training and their education, and somehow no longer are you fit to provide for yourself or your family unless I give you these tokens, these washers, and these man-made pieces of paper, you wouldn't be able to feed yourself, your family. You wouldn't be able to clothe yourself. You wouldn't be able to live on the planet that was here, that we all lived on and survived. Not we, but the people before us lived on and survived on, without any concept of money. I wonder how they got food while we got homeless and starving. It's funny. Some tomatoes just grow out the ground. I mean, ain't that free? If you plant a tomato, shouldn't you be able to eat a tomato? I wonder how many people that's starving would, go fishing real quick and fry up a fish if it wasn't for the fact that that costs money. I mean, it's the fucking rabbit hole. Y'all have a good day.